Hello, my name is Pamela Pereira, and I will be presenting a PowerPoint on data management and analysis for PA Lead 503 with Dr. Hall. This is on writing assignment number 2. The first slide is to discuss the reason to believe X and Y can be linked. The problem is non-traditional students' lack of satisfaction with academic advising at RWU School of Continuing Studies. The definition of satisfaction is the degree to which the non-traditional student's expectations and concerns are met. To define a non-traditional student, we look to the National Center for Education Statistics, which defines a non-traditional student as meeting one or more of the following criteria: being independent for financial and financial aid purposes, having one or more dependents, being a single caregiver, not having a traditional high school diploma, delaying post-secondary enrollment, attending school part-time, and being employed full-time. One or more of those characteristics define a non-traditional student. The cause and effect, if X then Y, premise is that for this project, it is if quality academic advising is provided, then non-traditional student satisfaction will increase. The program theory for X and Y has some roots in academic advising, as academic advising has evolved over time since its inception from the routine of just selecting courses to the more comprehensive process of meeting the needs of many students. And at this point, we're talking today about meeting needs of students in a way that defines the academic needs. It could be special support services. It could be getting students in contact with other outside sources that can help them be supported and successful in the academic environment. Student satisfaction has also increased as far as the expectations are concerned. Students are expecting more out of the advising process, and therefore their satisfaction with academic advising has changed because of these expectations. The theory is that if quality academic advising is provided, then non-traditional student satisfaction will increase. The literature review process for this particular data analysis was quite challenging for me. It's a new skill for me, and I found that finding material in the literature to cull through that and find what pieces I was looking for was challenging. And as any new skill is, you start out as a beginner and hopefully become proficient as time goes by. So for the literature review, the identity of the relationship between academic and advising and student satisfaction was looked at. The literature provided ways to identify scales and stems to measure advising and its satisfaction. And also, as I was looking through the literature, I was trying to find items that could be intervening variables to measure those as well. And while I did find many scales and stems, I found that I really had to look through carefully to find those scales and stems that would fit my my data analysis better than others. The hypothesis for the program is intervening variables affecting X and Y. So those intervening variables are participation and employment status. Participation was chosen because a student's level of participation in the advising process has a significant impact on whether or not the student's level of satisfaction increases. In addition, employment status seemed to be a common thread in the literature, and the literature discussed employment status from full-time and part-time, and that there were differences in the needs that students expressed based on their current employment status. The descriptive variables that I will be collecting information on or counting are gender and age. So the hypothesis for these intervening variables are if quality academic advising is provided, then non-traditional students will be satisfied. That is the foundation. Then building on with the intervening variables, I have if participation in quality academic advising, then non-traditional students will be satisfied. If quality academic advising, then non-traditional students working full-time or part-time will be satisfied. The scales for the variables were chosen from the literature. I've given examples of some of the stems in each of these sections. So for academic advising, I chose, the literature pointed out a 7-point Likert type scale. 1 indicated strongly disagree, 4 indicated neutral, and 7 indicated strongly agree. Some of the sample STEM questions are advising appointments are worth my time. My advisor listens to what I have to say. Student satisfaction of advising, this was also a Likert type scale. It was a 5-point scale, and from strongly agree, 5, to strongly disagree, 1. And some of the sample STEM questions from that particular student satisfaction of advising is my advisor has been readily available for consultation. My advisor listens to me. The intervening variable of participation also had a 7-point Likert type scale from extremely low to extremely high. Some of those STEM questions are listed here. The amount of time I spent sharing information about my needs and opinions with the advisor, and the degree of effort I put into expressing my personal needs to the advisor. I really like these STEM questions because it really focuses in on the level of participation that a student has with the advisor. So those stems and scales really resonated with them. And finally, the employment status. This is a polar response with just a yes or no. Do you work part-time? Do you work full-time? This is a list of the references used for the development of this second paper. Thank you very much. I look forward to the next step.